until they fire up those engines.
A panorama of speed, color, drama, and excitement. The American Sports Cavalcade.
When you think of famed outlaw sprint car driver Steve Kinser, a word comes to mind: relentless. No matter where he is on the racetrack, first, second, or dead last, Kinser never gives up. No matter the condition of the car or the racetrack, he always gives it 100%. That attitude has taken him to 9 wins here at Williams Grove Speedway. And of course, there's Sammy Swindell. One word applies here too: guts. Courage that belies his slight stature. There is nothing that Swindell won't try to pass another driver, and often he pays the price. 3 times he's been to the winner's circle here at Williams Grove. When you think of outlaw sprint car driver Doug Wolfgang, a word that comes to mind is crafty. How many times have we seen the Wolf have trouble in the heat races, have to start at the back of a big main event, and just cut and slice, bob and weave his way through the field to the front? No one judges the traffic better than Wolfgang. He has parlayed that skill to 2 wins here at Williams Grove. Those 3 superstars and the rest of the outlaw gang have once again made the trek to Williams Grove Speedway just outside of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. One of the most famous half-mile dirt tracks in the sport. It's a half-century old. Hello, everyone. I'm Steve Evans, and I'll make you 2 promises about the racing today. Number 1, it won't be dull. The Outlaws never are. And number 2, there won't be any dust at all. Why? Here's Brock Yates.
Hey, Steve, you talk about dust. How about rust? That's what we've been facing all day. All kinds of wetness. We had rain earlier today, then a little bit earlier this evening, and this racetrack is really soaked down. Now, that can make a big difference in the competition as we get ready for the first heat. Earlier, I talked to Sammy Swindell, Doug Wolfgang, and Steve Kinser about how this racetrack would lay out tonight.
Well, I don't know. You know, it should be pretty quick if they get it run in. You know, if they don't, it might be a little bit sloppy right off. But if they get the track run in by the time we have to qualify, it should be pretty quick. And it generally helps the racetrack when we get some natural water on it, and it's so late in the day that the track should stay pretty wet all night.
I don't know if it's going to be fast or slow because it's too sticky and too rough, but it'll be horsepower heaven for sure because of the long straightaways and tight corners. I'd say right now we were probably hoping for a drier track, but you know, that's the way it is.
Well, it's going to be heavy and probably pretty quick too, so we'll just hope it widens out enough for somebody can do some passing, or if it stays narrow, it's, maybe I'm in front and they can't pass. I don't know.
Well, after Brock talked to those 3 outlaw superstars, they did indeed get this track run in, and it looks terrific. This is heat number 1, 10 laps. The first 5 transfer directly to the feature. The top 3 rows are inverted,
which drives us back into the 3rd and 4th row to look for some of the really hot runners. And there is Steve Smith Sr. and Sammy Swindell in that black number 1 automobile. Those 2 guys, Steve Smith Sr., the track champion here at Williams Grove. Donnie Kreitz in row 5, another one of the fine young runners here in the world of outlaws, and also from the Pennsylvania circuit. These guys in the local tracks from eastern Pennsylvania, like Williams Grove, go up against the Outlaws 2 or 3 times a year, and this is one of the classic confrontations.
And they can run with him. The green is out, and already there is trouble, and it involves the number 1 car of Sammy Swindell up against the fence.
There in turn number 4, the crushed front end of that black number 1 car of Sammy Swindell. Can they get the car repaired in time for the B feature? These guys can work miracles in the pits, so stay with us. We'll be back for more at Williams Grove, Pennsylvania.
Back at Williams Grove Speedway, score 1 for the Pennsylvania Posse against the World of Outlaws cars, as there is one of the kings of the Outlaws, Sammy Swindell, and he is already on the hook, Brock Yates.
Well, Steve, as usual, the Outlaws get started way on the back straightaway, well in advance of the green flag down front. And the corner 3 and 4 here is very narrow at Williams Grove. There you can see Swindell moving down in between a bunch of traffic, trying to move up early, and he gets up on the rear wheel of Glenn Clark in the 85 car. That does giant damage to the front end, and then he whacks Joey Kuhn in the 2K. Fortunately, no damage for Joey, but Sammy Swindell's front end may be mortally wounded here tonight.
And again, from another angle, we see the number 1 car, Sammy Swindell, as he gets into the 2K car, Joey Kuhn, after he hit Glenn Clark in the 85 car. The field reforming here for a restart without Sammy Swindell.
But present and accounted for is in that red number 19 car, Steve Smith Sr., the track champion here at Williams Grove, starting in that 3rd row. So it's going to be an interesting race without Swindell, unfortunately, as they come off turn number 4 and take the green.
The flag is out from starter Butch Book, and heading down into turn number 1. Dave Haight, the 69H car, gets around Glenn Clark for 3rd, so it's Johnny Mackison in 65, 114 Mimi DeSantis, and 69 Dave Haight.
All right, but let's watch that 19 car, Steve Smith, as he begins to make his move down low. He's challenging the 2K and Joey Kuhn for the 4th spot as they head down into that big sweeping turn number 1 and 2. That's the widest of the four corners here at the Speedway, Steve.
And 19, Steve Smith Sr. makes that path work on 114 Mimi DeSantis for the 3rd spot, and he did it down low. This is one nice racetrack.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of room to pass here. So Steve Kinzer's earlier concerns that maybe it'd be difficult to pass, I don't think are going to be founded tonight. Looks real good.
And now 114 Mimi DeSantis finds 2K Joey Kuhn right on his push bar. But Kuhn is not gonna get around him on this particular try. Let's go to Brock with Sammy Swindell.
A real tough break, obviously. Can he get it fixed?
No.
Won't fix.
Well, I don't know what they're going to do, but we'll be in the back, you know, and have to start behind everything. But that's what happens when you get all the cars mixed up. We had a slow guy up there, and there was a guy behind me that was in a big hurry, and I got caught in between.
Well, we're sorry you're out. We're looking forward to a fast run tonight.
The car was perfect, just, you know, these guys get too big a hurry on the start. They're going to win it right off, and it don't work.
Yeah, well, we're sorry again.
Well, Sammy may share a little of that blame. He made a very early move down low that contributed to the entanglement that ensued. And back into heat number 1, Brock, every man has the same mission, to be in the top 5, go directly to the big feature, not have to run the B feature.
Oh, yeah. B feature is the black pit here for everybody. That's the most difficult race of the lot to get into the main. As we watch Weaver and Joey Kuhn go at it for that 5th spot, the 1W, Bobby Weaver. And look at Weaver. Weaver is about to get by Joey Kuhn in that 2K. That's going to put Kuhn out of the running here and move him into the B feature. And look at Weaver continue to go. Starting to challenge now. There's Mackison out front, comfortably out front in that 65 car. He is currently totally unchallenged for the lead.
And meanwhile, Brock, here comes 1W Bobby Weaver challenging 114 Mimi DeSantis for 4th. DeSantis has had somebody pressuring him ever since the green flag fell.
And not successfully able, apparently, to hold off Weaver. Weaver is determined to get around him.
And that determination is going to pay off here as 1W Bobby Weaver gets around DeSantis. DeSantis is now on the bubble in that 5th position. He's got to hold on to that if it's all possible.
All right, right behind him, though, in that 6th and 7th spot is 8K, that's Craig Keel, and 69K, that blue car, Donnie Kreitz. And those guys trying hard to move up. That's obviously a big, big challenge for them because they've got, 2 laps left if they're going to move now.
Well, the 2 drivers out there feeling the most pressure right now have to be 8K Craig Keel, who's in the 6th spot, and Mimi DeSantis, the 114 car, in the 5th position. One will go to the feature directly, and one will not. DeSantis hanging on tenaciously here. Last lap, 1/2 mile to go.
Here comes your winner, Johnny Mackison in the 65. Unchallenged, ran off the pole and just disappeared to win easily. Not so at the back, though. Here is that battle for that transfer position, and it looks as if Craig Keel will be unable to get by. No, he's not going to do it. He is going to the B feature as we see Johnny Mackison and Dave Haight in the 69H. Steve Smith Sr. in the 3 spot. Good, solid win for Johnny Mackison, showing real strength here.
But you know, Brock, had this been an 11-lap affair, Mackison might not have won because he limps in with a flat right rear tire. So here's how it all shook out in heat number 1. Mackison had a ride in the park. Dave Haight 2nd. Steve Smith Sr., a nice conservative drive. Weaver and DeSantis round out the top 5. Brock?
Well, Steve, I'm with number 65, Johnny Mackinson Jr. Good, strong race, John. What good way to start the night off.
Yeah, it's a fresh motor. It's running pretty good. I thought the car was getting a little tighter. Apparently, my rear tire went flat there. It's just, it made it in time.
Racetrack rolling in pretty good, even after the wet weather.
Oh, yeah, track's beautiful. It hasn't been this nice in a long time. I mean, I'm really glad we can race tonight.
Good deal. Congratulations. Good race.
Thank you.
Okay. And right now, Steve is with the 5th place finisher.
Well, Mimi, this is one night you just don't want to run the B main, and you barely escaped that fate.
Track is real fast. It's hard to turn the car, and that's the trouble we're having right now. The car just wants to go straight.
You got to muscle it around.
Well, I was trying. I didn't do a real good job, but we're in the show, and we hope to get better.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Okay, more race cars on the track here at Williams Grove Speedway. They're forming up for heat number 2. Another 10 laps on this historic Pennsylvania Speedway. Half-mile dirt. We'll be back with more of the Pennsylvania Posse right after this.
This is Upton Hall at Carlisle Barracks here in Pennsylvania. It's both historic and contemporary. It houses the Military History Institute and the Omar N. Bradley Foundation. Carlisle Barracks is also home to the U.S. Army War College. And speaking of war, we have a new battle about to break out here at Williams Grove Speedway. I'm Steve Evans along with Brock Yates, and this is heat number 2 as the World of Outlaws meet the Pennsylvania Posse.
They sure do, and 10 laps of struggle here faces these guys. A bunch of top drivers from Pennsylvania, Steve, but the man on the second row, actually on the inside of the second row, Steve Kinzer in that wanted number 11 automobile, starting right up near the front. There's Billy Pouch in the 126. Remember, we saw him earlier this year on the big Syracuse Mile. He's a specialist on the dirt modified type automobiles, now in the lighter, more, let's say, a little twitchier, tougher riding outlaw automobiles right now.
And you know, Brock, we heard winner Johnny Mackinson say this track hasn't been this good since he can remember. Well, that's because no amount of water trucks can equal Mother Nature when she decides to make a path over a dirt track and do it right.
Oh, Randy Wolf in the 5W jumps off to a quick lead as Steve Beidler in the 21 car loses the second spot from 88 Kenny Adams. So Adams jumps up right out of the second row to challenge immediately. But Steve Kinzer, well, he holds back a little bit. He drops back to 4th place. That's fairly common tactics for him, Steve. He seems to be pretty conservative on the starts.
Oh, but here he comes on the outside, the white car with the silver wing with the red number 11 on it. And he is now in the 3rd position as he blows right by 21 Steve Beidler for that spot.
So back in the 4th spot, that is the 126 car of Billy Pouch and the 23S of Frankie Kerr. They are battling it out. Remember now, 5 cars move on to the big main event here. So the 5th spot is the critical transfer position.
That's right, but you won't see too many drivers, Brock, just settle down and say, I'll be happy with 3rd. You've got to push the automobile. You've got to test the racetrack. You've got to try every different area conceivable for passing later on in the feature. And look at Kinzer roar. Now on the inside.
Down underneath the yellow 88 of Kenny Adams, trying to get underneath them. Kinzer, though, very conservative, considering the number of events that he's won. What a champion he is, but he's a patient race driver. He isn't quite as aggressive, perhaps, as Sammy Swindell, and in many cases that seems to pay off for him, especially in the starts. Kinzer will lay back and kind of be wary of his man and then ultimately just strike. So he's having more trouble than you might expect, though, with Kenny Adams. Kenny Adams showing a lot of strength there.
But you can see the difference. Kenny Adams' car was all over the racetrack, bouncing up and down on its suspension. As Steve Kinzer goes by, and you see that car is just glued to the racetrack. His Uncle Carl has gotten the combination one more time.
Oh, there he just moves way out. He is now sitting in the 2nd spot, but up front, Randy Wolf, relatively unchallenged. There's Billy Pouch in the 126, still holding on to that 5th position. Right behind him, Frankie Kerr.
And here's the most important race on the track right now. It is Billy Pouch and Frankie Kerr for that 5th position, the transfer spot.
Boy, the racetrack running in beautifully. It's going to be really, really hard with a nice tacky cushion by the time the main event shows up. There you see the interval between that red 126 of Pouch and the orange 23S of Frankie Kerr. And it looks as we've got 2 laps remaining, that Posse has pretty well secured that position.
I believe so, Buck. He's coming into some traffic right now. He's going to have to be careful not to get into trouble, maybe get nerfed into the fence and lose his shot at the feature. And I think that's on his mind right now. Give them all a little elbow room. Be cool.
There is Randy Wolf down the back straightaway underneath one of the slower automobiles, heading down toward the checkered flag to take the second heat here at the Williams Grove Speedway. A good, solid run right off the pole for Randy Wolf and an easy victory.
And everyone who finished in the top 5, I'm sure, also had a lot of fun, because this is a dream racetrack here at Williams Grove. It's usually a little bit choppy. This time of the year, it can dry out very quickly. A lot of dust, a lot of ruts, get real slick, but not tonight. If you could design the perfect track here at Williams Grove, this is about what you'd come up with. And it's not only the drivers that enjoy it, it's the fans as well. You could run the Outlaws in here on Sunday night, Monday night, it wouldn't matter. You would fill the park with the most knowledgeable fans, I think, in this sport. Well, here's the top 5 from heat number 2. Randy Wolf, we saw, win it in the 5W car. Steve Kinser almost effortlessly into the 2nd position in the white number 11. Kenny Adams, Steve Beitler, and Billy Pouch complete the 5. Right now, let's go to Brock Yates, who is with our winner, Randy Wolf. Brock.
Randy, I'll tell you what, that was one hooked-up race car. That was a great heat. You did super.
Well, thanks a lot. Of course, we started on the pole. And
yeah, but you were whistling. You just drove away from everybody. I don't know whether you could see it, but you moved out on Kinser and just stayed out there. There was no apparent damage to be done there.
Well, I hope we make the right decisions for the main event so we can go just as good. It's a brand new car, brand new Oz car, and a brand new Dave Brown engine. And we were saving it for this occasion because when these guys come here, they're loaded for bear. So we're just trying to be at least even.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think you got some bear loaded in this rascal, too. It really ran well.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Okay. And right now, Steve is with the man who finished 2nd in that 2nd heat.
Steve Kinser coming out of the race car complaining about a push condition, and he was just relaying that to his Uncle Carl to try to get it handled. But pushing it still ran pretty well.
Well, it could have ran a little better, but now we're in a race. Let's see what happens.
Your impressions of the racetrack? There was so much rain on it, but it's still fast.
Well, it's just sort of one groove right now. We'll just wait and sweep it off, and with all the rain, it's got the program messed up a little bit. Just see what happens. Do the best outlaw tonight.
That's all we can all do tonight. Now, here's Brock with a familiar face and the last man to transfer to the feature. Brock?
Well, Steve, the last time we saw this man, he was running on wheels off dirt modified up in the Big Mile in Syracuse, and good to see you in the sprinters again, Billy.
Yeah, I enjoy getting in these things when I get a chance.
You had a real hard race all the way through that heat. Moved into a 5th, but still, I would imagine you were probably looking for a little bit more.
Yeah, it was. We took off there at the beginning, and the car was a little too tight. Hell, I was pulling the wheels off the ground. I had a hard time steering it off the turns and getting through, but we're going to make some changes here, and hopefully the right ones for the feature to come through.
We'll be watching you.
Thank you.
Well, everybody complaining about their cars being just a little bit tight or pushing. Hopefully the drivers for heat number 3 have been watching the action, have loosened their cars up just a little bit to run quicker on this big half mile. Back here at Williams Grove, the drivers for heat number 3 already circulating around the racetrack, warming up not only their engines, but their drive trains as well. And one of the drivers out there, the 77 car, is Steve Smith, Jr. And earlier, Brock had a chance to take a good look at his automobile, and he found some things, well, that are pretty interesting and brand new in the sprint car world.
You know, sprint car design over the years really doesn't change a whole lot, but each season little evolutionary changes come into the sport, and this particular automobile, a brand new Gambler being driven by Stevie Smith from right here in Pennsylvania, has a couple of interesting points, mainly in the suspension. Notice that this rear torsion arm here is much longer than on the old cars, both front and back. They've lengthened this torsion arm on the right side of the automobile. It used to be that the torsion arm on the left side was the longer of the two. Now they switched it over onto the right side. It makes the chassis more symmetrical, evens up the car as they bury these automobiles in the corners, and sets the car up much more, distributes the weight across all 4 corners of the automobile much more effectively. Notice this brake. This is a carbon fiber disc, very much like the type that's used on Indianapolis cars, Formula 1 automobiles. It's much cooler. Stevie will use the brakes here in traffic and on the end of these long Williams Grove straightaways. Also, notice the side-mounted radiator. Pretty interesting. It's ducted from the front. It's a smaller core, much more efficient, and better placed near the rear of the car for better weight distribution. Also, by the way, this car, 1,300 pounds, is putting out about 780 horsepower. That's a ton of power and a great automobile.
Well, I tell you, the power-to-weight ratio, Brock, maybe is that of a Formula One car.
Oh, it's very close, Steve. Anytime you get 2 pounds per horsepower, which is roughly what these cars have, same with Indianapolis cars and Formula One cars, they're all in the same range. It means that you are dealing with an absolutely major league automobile.
And, you know, other than Indianapolis cars, open-wheel race cars around the world are Formula Atlantic and Formula Ford and Formula V's. If these are anything, they're Formula Flip. Because before you get good at driving one of these things, you can count on being on your head about 25 times. It's probably the average.
Oh, boy. We got some really hot runners in this field. Joey Allen, Bobby Davis Jr., Keith Kaufman, one of the best of the local guys. Smokey Schnellbacher, a real veteran here at Williams Grove. He's back for an evening of racing. He's pretty well retired. Steve Smith Jr., we just looked at his race car. Dave Blaney. Boy, we got some hot runners. The green is out, and Jerry Denneker on the pole. He moves immediately to the back as Joey Allen in the 461, and Bobby Allen's little brother comes into the lead. Keith Kaufman in the 20, Bobby Davis Jr. in the 10. Those are the contenders, and along with Stevie Smith Jr. And look at Dave Blaney. He's up there as well. So all of a sudden, the veterans have moved right to the front of the pack.
Oh, absolutely. And 17, Dave Blaney, a lot of people feel that he is right now in the same league with the Kensers, the Swindells, and the Wolfgangs. We've seen him perform terrifically for our shows in the past. A young driver who gets better every second.
Well, big rumors in the pits that he will be the Gambler official driver, the house car driver, coming up later in the season. Currently, Dave sitting back there in the transfer spot in the 5th place, and doesn't seem quite able to challenge anybody from back there, Steve.
No, he doesn't, Brock. He kind of let the pack of 4 get away from him. His challenge now, it doesn't matter if he passes anybody else. He just can't let himself be passed and lose that 5th transfer spot.
All right, here's a good race for 3rd. The blue car, the 10. That's one of the Ford powered cars being driven by Bobby Davis Jr. and being challenged by Stevie Smith Jr. It looks like Smith can kind of move in on him down the straights, but Davis is hooked up real well in the corners and gets away from him, Steve.
Oh, this is a fine battle, though. 2 young second-generation drivers having a good time in this heat race. Oh, and there is the man who started on the pole, 29D, Jerry Daneker, and he is slowing down and may finish right at the back. Now, that flag signal you saw means that we're at the halfway point here at heat number 3.
And Bobby Davis Jr. continues to successfully keep Stevie Smith Jr. at bay in that red automobile. So the Ford working pretty well here tonight. They've had some problems with that car this season, and we've seen him run very, very strong in other competition. But right now, Bobby Davis Jr. Sitting comfortably in that 3rd spot.
And he is the reigning Outlaw champion. You'll recall last season there was a rival organization that split the cars up a bit. It has failed now, and all of them are back together, much to the delight of promoters and fans.
That's right. And there is your leader, the 461, the white automobile of Joey Allen, relatively unchallenged as he moves in on, that's the F1 of French Grimes, smoking pretty good there. He's probably about to lose a motor as he slows down in turn number 1. So Joey Allen continues to just drive on unchallenged. There is the 10 car of Bobby Davis Jr. continuing to hold off Stevie Smith. And here comes Joey Allen off turn number 4, heading toward the white flag. 1/2 mile left before he can claim a victory here in heat number 3.
You know, Brock, we were talking about the 10 car who's behind Joey Allen, Bobby Davis Jr. We used to always say the only Ford in Outlaw Sprint Car Racing. There's about 4 of them on the grounds here tonight, so it's gaining in popularity.
Yeah, it sure is. They got a bunch of power, and it's just a matter of time before they become contenders. And Joey Allen takes the victory here in heat number 3. Again, relatively unchallenged. Keith Kaufman will finish in the 2nd spot. So Joey Allen, the younger brother of the old veteran here in Outlaw Racing, the original Outlaw, they call him, Bobby Allen.
Absolutely, and obviously his little brother Joey's been paying attention because that was a very impressive heat race victory. Joey Allen on top of the heap in the 461 car. Keith Kaufman, a gentleman driver and a very precise driver in the second spot. Bobby Davis Jr. with the Ford. Steve Smith Jr. with the unique number 77 car in the fourth position. Dave Blaney got up for a transfer spot, and that's all he really wanted out of it. So there goes our winner. Back to the pits. We'll talk to him when we come back to Williams Grove, Pennsylvania. Stay with us.
We got a bunch of them here at Williams Grove. They're going to fight for some big dollars in the A feature coming up a little bit later as we watch 66A Bobby Fletcher being pushed off for heat number 4. But before we start there, let's go to the winner of heat number 3 and Steve Evans.
Well, Pennsylvania driver Joey Allen gave a bit of a driving lesson to a lot of the touring outlaw pros in that heat number 3. Congratulations.
Thank you.
The heat race is a little more important to win them tonight, the way they set you up for the feature.
No, not really. I mean, if you win, you get some points, but it's more if you pass. So I don't know how it's supposed to start because I was actually supposed to start 4th. I ended up starting 2nd, so I don't know if they give me credit for passing 3 cars or not.
This is the Outlaws. There are no rules. You know, once the top 3 got established, nobody ran away from anybody. Nobody gained any ground.
I don't know. I don't know what happened behind me.
That's the way you like to have them.
Thank you.
Joey Allen, younger brother of Bobby Allen. Brock?
Well, as Stevie Smith climbs out of the race car, I would imagine maybe he was looking for a little bit more out of this old 77 or this brand new 77. Was it just teething problems with it, Stevie?
No, it's just there's a lot of good race car drivers out there on the track, and we started 8th and we finished 4th. I'm sure we'd like to win, but we didn't.
Well, at least you move into the feature, so that tonight with this kind of mixed bag of starting procedures, you got to feel good about that.
Yeah, we're glad to be here and glad to be in the A, so we'll have to go from there.
Good deal. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, and now let's go to Steve with the man who finished just in front of Stevie Smith, Bobby Davis Jr.
Looked like you kind of just got stranded there in that 3rd spot. You didn't fall back, but you couldn't move up either.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. We got stuck there in 3rd on the start going down the front straightaway, and you know, it's passing points, and we was trying to jump up there real quick as fast as we could, and we made a move there, but I just got kind of beat me to the corner before I got there.
Good job.
Thank you.
Bobby Davis Jr. referring to the fact that tonight, Steve, you get points for all the cars you pass, which helps your starting position in the A main.
I'm a little bit like Joey Allen. I don't understand it either.
Well, the Outlaws, nobody ever complains of them. Everybody just kind of lines up and races. That's what I like about this. Mark Kinzer, there's a guy we're going to watch in this 4th heat. Doug Wolfgang in the 8 in row 3. Joe Garrity runs strong. Dad builds the engines here. Kenny Jacobs in the Weicker 29 car. Bobby Allen, Joey's brother, also in here. Chris E. She's a good runner from Maryland. So we've got a bunch of strong guys here in this 4th heat.
In fact, this is the strongest heat we have seen so far. No question about it. And as we talked about at the top of the show, Doug Wolfgang is always so much fun to watch when he starts in the back of it.
All right, already Mark Kinzer, Steve's younger brother in the 5M, has jumped past Paul Latier in the 7 and is moving out.
And on the start, number 8, Doug Wolfgang, he just blasted past 16, Jimmy Nace, and 12, Steve Stambaugh. He's now in 3rd, challenging Paul Latier for 2nd. Good grief, what a move.
Oh, the Wolf is charging here right away, early in the going. Obviously, though, he wants to just make sure he's in that top 5. But you get those passing points, as Joey Allen said earlier, so if he can gobble up a couple of more guys and move out into the lead, there you see him in that orange number 8, Doug Wolfgang. Right now, though, he's kind of stuck in 3rd place, Steve. He moved up on Latier real hard and then kind of fell back and is really in line here as we watch Mark Kinzer, then Paul Latier. Now that's Doug Wolfgang in the 3rd spot. Holding on, and look at Joe Garrity in the red 7. Joe got underneath Wolfgang briefly. Now he's right on his tail. As they head down into turn number 2, the Wolf pulls out a little bit down the back straightaway underneath that bridge, which is distinctive here at Williams Grove, and begins to pull out a little bit on Joe. But Joe kind of snuck up on him there for a second and almost took him for 3rd place.
You know, Joe Garrity in the 17W car, you said earlier, his father, a well-known engine builder in this kind of racing, is the new young lion in the Pennsylvania Posse, the new young deputy, so to speak. Well, I'll tell you, he is really earning a lot of respect early on in the season here in this part of the country.
Oh, yeah, he's done some good racing. He's been around for a couple of years now with the Outlaws and has shown some real strength of late. As we watch Doug Wolfgang continue to just sit there in that 3rd spot right ahead of him is Latier. And here comes Garrity again. won't give up on the Wolf. Can't seem to get underneath them, but I'll tell you, that red stuff is working well.
And Wolfgang goes high, Garrity goes low, and does get underneath him, but Wolfgang on the high side may have the momentum. Yes, he does. He didn't scrub up as much speed as Garrity did down low. Wolfgang was experimenting with the cushion and various lines, and now with Garrity there, he's settling down into his race pace.
Oh, yeah. When Garrity got a wheel underneath him, I'm sure the Wolf looked out of his the left side of his helmet there and saw that nose of that race car. Now look at him. Now he just said, bye-bye, Joe. And in fact, he may now try to move up on low tiers. We watched the starter give us 2 laps remaining here in this 4th heat. So suddenly Wolfgang really stands on it, jumps away from Garrity. There's your leader, Mark Kinzer. Again, unchallenged. You can see almost a half a lap interval as he comes down to take the white flag. Down off turn number 2, down the back straightaway. Mark Kinzer headed for a relatively easy victory here.
And they're not having to use a whole lot of wind tonight, Brock, because the track is so very good. It's also easy on tires. They've got it their way tonight here at Williams Grove. And the Wolf howls down the front straightaway to hold off Joe Garrity. The number 8 car, Doug Wolfgang, picks off that 3rd position. Joe Garrity has to settle for 4th, but he did give Wolfgang an anxious moment or two. Mark Kinzer is the winner. There's another strong young man. The Kinzer tradition, the high school wrestlers, I mean, they're really incredibly fit guys.
And Steve, we've just gotten word from race control that Mark Kinzer just completed the fastest 10 laps ever run here at Williams Grove. Boy, we thought it went by pretty quick. There's Mark Kinzer, the winner, Paul Latier, Wolfgang, Garrity, and Chris Eash. They're the fortunate 5. They will move on into the A main. A couple of the other big names, though, Kenny Jacobs and Bobby Allen, will have to run in the B main to get into the feature. But right now, all eyes are on this man, Mark Kinzer, who had just broke the 10-lap record. And now, Steve is there.
Well, Mark, if that felt fast, it's because it was fast. A brand new Williams Grove 10-lap record, 3 minutes and 3 seconds.
Yeah, I tell you, I got Jimmy Jones and Troy Renfro. Troy, he's from the Pennsylvania area, and I'm glad that we can do good here at Williams Grove. We won a race here one time, and it started to rain, so maybe the rain will bless us tonight, maybe, I hope.
You want a home court advantage, go to the hometown racers.
Yeah, that's right. And also, I got to thank Chuck Merle. He's put me in the finest race car I've ever been in. The people from Maxim, Ken Jenkins, I tell you, they've done an excellent job. It's the best ride I've ever been in, and I hope we can keep on going for years to come.
Boy, it's flying.
Thank you.
Well, I'll tell you, I've interviewed Mark Kinzer a number of times, and this is the most pumped up that I have ever seen him. He'll head into that trailer where they have virtually every part you could possibly need to get it ready for the A main. Brock?
As Paul Latier climbs out of the car, showing some concern. Paul, it appeared to be a good, strong second place, but you telling your crew you're not too happy with the hookup, huh?
Well, we're a little tight in the middle of the corner, and it drives you out instead of down the straightaway.
Right. That's a question of stagger, or how are you going to correct that?
Well, with maybe some shocks and a little bit of adjustment on the suspension.
So you feel pretty good about possibly the A main, the way the race cars run. Other than that?
Well, we're close. We just got to get that out there so you can catch somebody a little easier.
Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, like most sprint car drivers, Latier never totally satisfied with his setup. And now let's go to Steve with the 3rd place finisher.
You know, Doug, if Mark Kinzer seemed a little harder to catch than usual, it's because he was busy setting the all-time 10-lap record here.
I guarantee you, I didn't even see him. He was so far away.
Couldn't hit him with a rock.
No, he was gone.
What do you do for the main event? Do you think the groove will widen out a little wider passing surface?
I don't think there's much I can do. I'm not going to do anything because I'm running straight as a string, and they're just driving away. And if I loosen up, I'll slow down. If I tighten up, I'll slow down. I'm just about where I need to be, so there's not much I can do. We're just not, we're just not making that much ground speed at the moment.
Just drive it a little harder. That's what you usually do.
Well, I was driving it hard enough. I think I was driving it hard enough. Maybe I'm not.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, Steve, I'll tell you what, I don't think that man ever can be faulted for not driving it hard enough as his crew begins to select tires for the A main because they are headed for that. But before we see Doug and the other guys race for the big money, we've got a couple of other race drivers trying to get into that A feature. That is the B main. It's coming up, guaranteed, wild and woolly competition. Stay with us. To be specific, those are the 4 starting spots in the A main. We've got 14 guys out here circulating the racetrack, warming up, getting ready for the B feature, what they used to call a consolation race. And one pretty much guaranteed to give you some wild action, Steve.
Oh, it always does, Brock, especially with this many stars who didn't make the A main. And there's one of them. Sammy Swindell will not race the B. He's loading up that car in the trailer. But you can bet he and his wife Amy will hang around to sell some T-shirts, because that's where the big money is in outlaw sprint car racing.
You don't think those things are light? You notice how 3 guys just lifted the rear end of that little rascal, and there goes the black number 1 into the trailer. Obviously, he'll be back to race very shortly. The damage not all that bad. Notice they've replaced the front axle already. But Sammy just considered the setup impossible to get on this short notice and just parked it in the trailer.
Brock, I wonder if some of the touring outlaws don't have exactly the right motor combination for a track like Williams Grove. Very long straightaways. You buzz the engine harder than you will almost anywhere else. And there's quite a few tracks like this in the Northeast, and it's the only place they find them. In the Midwest, they've got short straights and big sweeping straightaways. You need torque more than RPM. But not in the Northeast. A lot of the big tracks were designed originally for horse racing, not this one, but it has that same kind of configuration.
Yeah, it does, and the corners are pretty flat, not very banked, so you don't carry a lot of speed around them, although a couple of the guys told me that when the setup is perfect, you can get around Williams Grove without really lifting, although, believe it or not, everybody uses a lot of brakes, too. Here we'll see brakes in this longer event being used pretty hard, especially in traffic. The 3 guys we got to watch here, I think, are Donnie Kreitz, Bobby Allen, and Kenny Jacobs. They are 3 pretty regular runners and very experienced here on this racetrack. We got a green.
14 cars and only 4 drivers will benefit from the experience and go to the feature later on. Kenny Jacobs has gone down low out of his 4th position, passing Craig Keel in 8K, 11S Todd Schaefer. Kenny Jacobs embarrassed to be in the B, I guarantee it.
Well, absolutely. He's a local runner running for one of the best teams in the business, the Weichert Livestock people. And you got to be sure he wants to show his hometown fans that he can run. We know he can. They just had some problems in their heat.
But look at Todd Schaefer, 11S. He comes back to challenge 8K Craig Keel for that 3rd position.
That's Keel up high in the white car, in the white 8. And down below him, the 11S.
And now it's Dave Kelly, the black on black number 17 car that's joining in the fight here for that 3rd spot.
Oh, what a race as we watch those 3 cars down the back straightaway. Keel a little bit high as we watch Todd Schaefer in that 11S, the black automobile, try to tuck underneath him, although Keel seems to have just a little bit more straightaway speed to hang in there.
Oh, absolutely. And at the end of these straightaways, you can hear these motors. They are wound absolutely tight. Now there's 11S coming on the inside, Todd Schaefer. And he is around the white 8K car of Craig Keel for 3rd spot. Just danced around him, right?
Yeah, well, he was all over him for a bunch of laps. And then finally, look at the smoke coming off Keel's right rear tire. You don't think these cars are hooked up? All right, back in the pack. That is Bobby Allen in the 1A. And 99, Freddie Raymer going at it for 8th spot. So Allen, if he's going to move up, remember, 4 cars transfer to the main. So Bobby Allen, one of the real veterans, the old man called Scruffy, he has finally moved by Raymer and is going to try to move on 16. That's Jimmy Nace for the 7th spot.
Well, you know, Bobby would like to join his little brother in the A main. Remember, he won his heat race. Bobby stumbled in the heats and found himself here in this kind of last chance qualifier they call the B main.
Oh, it's a tough spot. I mean, these guys are all good runners. Everybody trying for that exclusive 1 through 4 finish. And Bobby Allen, as good as he is, really has his hands full to try to get by. And don't forget, this is not an easy racetrack to pass on. The grooves are relatively narrow. As you can see, 16 Jimmy Nace trying to hold off Bobby Allen.
It's easier to pass on tonight than some of the times we have visited here, though.
That's
At least there's traction virtually everywhere on the racetrack.
All right, this is back to that battle for 3rd spot between 11S Todd Schaefer and Craig Keel in the 8 car. And so far, Keel has not lost a whole lot of ground to Schaefer, although he's got about a 5 or 6 car length lead on him, Schaefer does, as they head down the front straightaway. There is the halfway point, and Todd Schaefer continues to hold on to 3rd place. Right behind him, though, is that is the Kelly automobile in the number 17 car. Dave Kelly, he's not giving up at all. He's still looking to get by Craig Keel.
That's right. Craig Keel's big problem right now is not getting around Todd Schaefer for the third spot. It's hanging on to his own transfer spot because he is getting tons of pressure from 17 Dave Kelly.
Oh, look at this. Kelly gets by him. Yes, Dave Kelly, good pass on his part to move by Craig Keel. So Keel is right now advanced to the back and is sitting in the fifth spot, and he's going to be parked for the rest of the night unless he gets moving.
And meanwhile, back in the race for that seventh spot, that is 1A Bobby Allen, the blue car, trying to advance, trying to get closer to the transfer spot.
It's 16. Jimmy Nace is in the way, as it were, but Jimmy is doing a good job, especially good power on a straightaway. Look at him kind of burst off turn number 4 and hold off Bobby Allen as they go down into turns 1 and 2.
You know, there is a good groove down low, but if you get low, we've talked about this before, you tend to scrub off a little speed, the RPM falls down before you can gather it back up. The other guy has scored it away a car length.
Right, and there you see, once again, Nace does the same thing. Bobby Allen. Bobby fights that car through the corner, and now you can see there moves up just a little bit down the back chute, but it doesn't work, and Nace continues to hold on to that spot.
Well, so far, this racetrack has been fairly easy on tires. We watch him just bury that right rear. It's the one that takes the most punishment, and only really one car have we seen any smoke off that tire. On a dry blue groove racetrack, boy, they feel like top fuel dragsters doing burnouts sometimes.
Okay, let's go back to that race for third. There's the man who was frying that right rear tire. The 8 car of Craig Keel has fallen back behind Dave Kelly and Todd Schaefer. Schaefer is still holding on to third spot, but I'll tell you what, Kelly's moving up the challenge, Steve.
Absolutely. There is Kelly. That is the 17 car down low, the black car. And they are side by side as they come down in front of this jam-packed grandstand.
Oh, look at this race. Great show. 2 cars running neck and neck for that third spot, and here is Kelly. He is by him. Great show on the part of Dave Kelly, moving into the third position.
Well, Todd Schaefer is still safe if he can just hang on where he is right now. Obviously, he was trying to get around Kelly or stay in front of Kelly to give himself a little insurance from a transfer standpoint.
All right, there's Bobby Allen again, still struggling with Nace, and I don't think that it's going to work for Bobby Allen tonight. There he is in that blue 1A, as you can see, falling back steadily now.
He has tried everything but a shortcut through the parking lot to get ahead of Jimmy Nace, and there's just nothing out there for him. He just doesn't have the right automobile on this night.
Nope. And there's your third-place automobile, Dave Kelly, done a super job. He has moved out from Todd Schaefer. Donnie Kreitz has moved past a fading Craig Keel. So Kreitz, though, will not get into the feature unless he can get by Todd Schaefer.
And that's a big surprise. Donnie Kreitz, a 69K car from nearby Sinking Springs, PA, one of the top runners of the Pennsylvania Posse and on the Outlaw circuit when he joins up. That really surprises me.
There's your winner. In the 29 car, Kenny Jacobs taking the checkered flag, and Donnie Kreitz takes one last shot at Todd Schaefer and can't make it work. So Donnie is going to put it on the trailer for tonight as well.
Well, there's Kenny Jacobs. He's the winner in the 29 car. A very popular driver, not only here at Williams Grove, but anywhere he appears. Very popular with the fans and his fellow competitors. And speaking of fans, they know what's to come now. There's nothing left but the A main, where all the money and pride is. Jacobs will be there. Frankie Kerr, Dave Kelly, and Todd Schaefer will be in the A main. The question is, how far back will they be able to strike from that position? Well, Bobby Allen won his personal race with Jimmy Nace in the latter laps, but still will not make it to the A. Brock?
Well, Steve, there you see the 29 car, Kenny Jacobs, and the guys are really rushing to get this thing ready. There's no time to spare. Kenny, I know you don't like to run the B main, but if you got to run it, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, for some reason we're having trouble tonight. This is the best car I got and the best motor I got, and something's wrong. We have a broken torsion bar, or something's wrong. We can't get hooked up, and I can't hardly drive the car down the straightaway, let alone through the corner, so we're really rushing. We got our hands full right now.
Well, it's a tough deal. You know, every time it seems like in automobile racing, as soon as you figure you got it sorted out, it goes away on you.
Yeah, that's right, but we're really guessing right now. This car's just virtually won almost every race it's been in, and all of a sudden it's acting like a female. It doesn't want to go.
You got to have a talk with her. I'll let you get after.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, Kenny, good job. Steve?
If it wasn't for the gloves on your hands, Todd, those would be real nail biters when you're trying to hang on to that 4th spot.
Yeah, we were going towards the front, and then we started to get a little loose, and Kelly got by me, and I knew they were only taking 4. I didn't hear anybody, so I don't know how close they really were.
There were times, there were moments.
Yeah, I guess there was. Well, we're in, so.
Okay, get it ready for the feed.
All right, thank you.
Boy, you can see the relief on the face of Todd Schaefer. Right now, let's go to Brock, who's with the driver that finished just in front of Todd.
Well, Steve, once again, no time for Dave Kelly to make any serious changes. He's going to stay right in the race car. Dave, not a whole lot of chance to do anything here. You just got to hope, right?
Yeah, the rain sort of messed us all up tonight, you know, and we got the boys, Davey Brown here, my mechanic, and the guys are making some changes to it, but we don't have time to do a whole lot.
What do you got? What in a situation like this, where are you going to go for shocks or tires, whatever?
Well, Davey's making some adjustments to the torsion bars. We slid the wing over to the left side to try and unhook the car. With the track being as tacky as it is, everybody's just hooked too tight, you know. Usually we're trying to get our cars hooked to the racetrack, but tonight it's just an altogether different deal.
Always changes, doesn't it? Never is the same, never the way you want it.
It's a challenge, that's for sure.
Good job on a good finish in that B main.
Thank you.
Okay. Dave Kelly ready to go.
Hey, if it was easy, Yates and I would do it. Stay with us when the best of the Outlaws meet the best of the Pennsylvania Posses. The A feature coming up from Williams Grove.
Wherever dirt goes, you know it's up to no good, especially when dirt goes for your car. So when it comes to stopping dirt, more people go with Fram. Because no air filter traps more dirt than Fram. It's the #1 way to stop dirt in its tracks.
Oh, no!
Oh, yeah. Fram, the end of the road for dirt.
Are you still living with this nightmare? Over 1 million motorists have said never again. They've switched to Triple Edge, and the difference is amazing. Triple Edge is the world's first high-tech windshield wiper. It clears, it cleans, it wipes dry, all in a single pass. But that's not all. Triple Edge wipers won't tear, dry rot, or freeze to your windshield. They're made from DuPont Nordell, the same material used in 50,000-mile radial tires. So strong, they're guaranteed for as long as you own your car. If they ever fail, we'll replace them free. Triple Edge gives you visibility through the heaviest downpour. It whisks away snow and ice. Even mud is no match for Triple Edge.
The day after I got my Triple Edge wipers, we had a big snowstorm with blowing sleet and wind. Everybody had trouble seeing except me. My visibility was beautiful.
Join the satisfied million who have switched to Triple Edge. No noise, no streaking, no smearing, no tearing. Triple Edge wipers are only $19.95 a pair. Custom fit to install in seconds on your car, van, or truck. Order yours now. They're the last windshield wipers you'll ever buy.
Call toll-free 1-800-842-4444 or send $19.95 plus $4.50 shipping and handling to Triple Edge Wipers, care of TV Offer, Box 10030, Stamford, Connecticut. Please include your car or car's make, model, and year for correct sizing. Use your credit card and call now. 1-800-842-4444.
Welcome back to Williams Grove Speedway. I'm Steve Evans along with Brock Yates, and the A feature is about to begin. Normally, we're out on the racetrack and all the pomp and circumstance and driver's introductions. Not tonight. They're really pushing the program due to all of the weather. But I can tell you, on the pole, Joey Allen, what a thrill.
Oh, I love being on the pole. There's only one place to go, and that's forward, and it helps to start up on the front because all the cars they're fast. You know, everybody's got the competition behind them. I mean,
And it takes a lot of power on this racetrack tonight.
Yes, especially with the long straightaways and the track being tacky. It definitely is hard on motors. You got to pull them speeds all the way down the straightaway, and the corners are so tight it like kills the motor.
Go get him, young man.
Thank you.
Okay, Brock, who have you got?
Quick word with Mark Kinzer as he gets hooked up and ready for the A main. Mark, so far so good.
Yeah, we got a good place to start. You know, anytime you're on the front row, you don't have to pass guys like Wolfgang and Steve, so that's a plus. So hopefully we can get out and get in the lead and get around the lap cars and come home, and you'll see my face after this is over.
We're looking forward to it. Go get him.
Thank you.
Hey, Mark Kinzer, ready to go. Steve?
Well, I went over to interview the third starting driver, Dave Hayden, 69H. He wasn't there, and there's why. He's already out on the racetrack. They're really getting pressure to get this underway. There's weather in the area. The outlaw officials want to get it over with. So, Brock, I hope that you have found somebody that's still sitting in the pits and wants to talk about the race.
See, starting on the outside of the second row is car number 20, one of the real local favorites here from right down the road in Mechanicsburg, Keith Kaufman. Keith, considering the kind of confusion with the rain and everything, you got to be pretty pleased with an up-front start like this on the outside of the front, second row.
Well, we are. We're having a little motor trouble. We're trying to work on that and get it fixed. So
you got to rush. I know that they're not giving you a whole lot of time. Do you think you get it worked out?
Well, we're going to be close.
Okay, go get him.
Thank you.
Okay, Keith Kaufman, Steve, ready to go.
Well, the majority of the cars have already made it out onto the racetrack. There's no onboard starters on sprinters. They have to push them all with pickup trucks to get them running. And there's a very few left in the pits, but Brock has found at least one.
Okay, Steve, I'm with Chris East. He's going to start again on the outside. Chris, considering all the ways you could have gone tonight, you got to be pretty pleased with an up-front start like this.
Well, yeah, you know, we were a little discouraged having to start in the back of the heat race, but, you know, we got some passing points, and we got in the show, and the car feels real good, so we're pretty confident tonight.
You like to start on the outside if you had a choice, or on the inside here?
I think I'd rather start on the inside. There's a little more moisture, and you get a little more drive off the first corner down there, and, you know, start on the top, and it's a little dusty up there, so we'd rather start on the bottom.
Well, go get him anyway.
Okay, thank you.
Good job. Good luck. Chris East, Steve.
All right, thank you, Brock. Here is Doug Wolfgang, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, the number 8 car. They're getting him lined up to put a push truck behind him on that little push bar and getting bump started off. Brock has something more in the 20 car.
Well, Steve, as you heard earlier, Keith Kaufman told us that they were having troubles with this car, and they are hurrying. Most of the race cars for the feature are on the racetrack doing their warm-ups, and Kaufman now just slamming that wheel into place, grabbing for his helmet. His shoulder harness is in place, and on goes his helmet. The crew pushing him out here, waving for a push truck. Oh, he'll make it, but not with a whole lot of spare time.
Well, you have to have a little empathy for the 4 drivers that transferred out of the B feature. They're the ones that were really under the gun here to get ready for the A. As hard as they're pushing them, they barely had time to change tires and refill the methanol fuel tank. Stay with us. I'm Steve Evans with Brock Yates, and we'll be back to Williams Grove for the big race of the night. Ought to be a great one.
24 of the fastest outlaw and Pennsylvania drivers formed up for the A feature here at Williams Grove. And I'll tell you what, Steve Evans, we got a couple of kids on the front row. Joey Allen and Mark Kinzer, really fine young drivers. They are going to be tough to pass. Keith Kaufman back there in row 2. He just got that engine sorted out. Hopefully he'll be all right. Chris East, Johnny Mackinson, we saw him win the first heat with ease. Randy Wolf, another heat winner. And look at that man, the 11 car. Steve Kinzer in row number 4 on the outside. Steve Smith Sr. and Doug Wolfgang. Wolf having problems so far tonight.
Well, the fans at home watching this rundown here of the grid for the A main certainly can find somebody to root for. I don't care if you're old, young, or somewhere in the middle, if you like Fords, if you like Chevrolets. This race has absolutely everything you could want in a World of Outlaws feature. Just tremendous.
There's Billy Pouch. Dave Blaney has had problems tonight. Bobby Davis Jr. Not running up to his standards, I'm sure. They want a little more power, a little more handling. And there are the guys we just saw squeeze in based on the B main. Jacobs, Kerr, Kelly, and Todd Schaefer bringing up the rear in a scratch position. The 24th starter here in this big race. Lots of money and lots of prestige on the line.
But not much time, not even time for the traditional outlaw 4-abreast salute to the crowd. But the crowd doesn't care. They don't want it to rain before these 20 laps are over.
They've got a green here and down the front straightaway. Joey Allen breaks out in front of Mark Kinzer in the 461. So it'll be Joey Allen down the back straightaway, right on his tail. Oh, the 5 of Mark Kinzer.
Mark Kinzer looks inside of 461 Joey Allen, takes that position, but Allen carries more speed down the straightaway. That was the difference.
I remember what Joey said. You got to carry a lot of speed off these tight corners. And riding high apparently seems to be what works for him. As we watch Keith Kaufman now dive underneath Mark Kinzer and challenge him for the second spot. All right, there is that 11 car, that familiar white automobile of Steve Kinzer suddenly coming into the foreground. Look at this. He is charging up and about to make a move on Keith Kaufman, who was at the same time challenging Mark Kinzer. So Kaufman now bracketed by Kinzer.
Steve Kinzer, the white 11 car, started in the 8th position, and within a lap and a half was already up to 4th, and once more.
Look at this. Kaufman moves by Mark Kinzer to take over the 2nd spot. There's the battle between Chris Eash and the 69 car of Dave Hayne. That's the 5th place battle there, and Eash running well in that yellow number 17 car.
In fact, that 17E Chris Eash has taken 5th spot away from 69H Dave Hayne. And how about 5W Randy Wolf? He comes up and passes Hayne on the low side.
So we've got some movement back here in the field, but up front, though, Joey Allen continues to dominate here. Right in behind him, of course, Keith Kaufman. And look at the 11th car, Steve Kinzer, family battle here. He is moving in to challenge Mark, his younger brother. Look at this battle between this pair.
Oh, this is just great competition. Everywhere you look on the racetrack, up front, in the middle, and even towards the back, they are just struggling to pick up positions as they can in this 20-lap day feature. Oh, we've got a yellow flag out. And it's been caused by a spin of the 88 car, Kenny Adams. Kind of nose first into the dirt where it's been pushed down onto the low side of the racetrack. That doesn't appear to be hurt badly at all. And there's another car coasting to a stop. That is Bobby Weaver, the 1W car on the front straight. He apparently has mechanical problems. You know, Brock, it's a shame the yellow came out when it did, because that great family rivalry was just developing between Mark and Steve Kinzer. But I'm sure it will resume when, again, the green flag comes out on the A main.
Well, as a matter of fact, Mark had kind of broken away a little bit from Steve and had re-established himself in that 3rd position. But this yellow flag, of course, is going to bunch everybody up. And we've got a great bunch of racing coming up right after this.
Just about ready for the restart of the A main here at Williams Grove, Pennsylvania, the World of Outlaws Pennsylvania Posse Show. I'm Steve Evans along with Brock Yates, and just before that green comes out, let's set the field for you. It will be Joey Allen, who is led from lap number 1, started on the pole in the 461 car. Then Keith Kaufman, Mark Kinzer, Steve Kinzer, Chris Edge in the 17E car. And looking at 6 through 10, it's interesting. Randy Wolf, Dave Hayne, then the Smith family, separated only by Johnny Mackison. There's 2 family duels going on in this racetrack, the Smiths and the Kinzers.
Well, you know, Steve, as we get ready to take a green here and Joey Allen jumps out into the lead, I wonder, some of these guys during that little intermission had a chance to make some wing changes. They can manually change it from the cockpit. It'll be interesting to see if we've got some radical position changes. Look at this. All of a sudden, that is Steve Kinzer just blasted by his brother, Mark Kinzer, and also Keith Kaufman to take over the 2nd spot. So that man in the 11th car has shown some major changes in his performance.
And for the first time tonight, 461, Joey Allen is going to have serious competition. The best outlaw driver of them all, most people will tell you, has just shown Joey Allen why he carries the big credentials. The 11th car, the white car. Steve Kinzer now leads the A main at Williams Grove.
Remember when we got the caution, he was sitting in the 4th position and really not looking very strong. Suddenly now he leads it.
Now usually the 8th car, the orange car, Doug Wolfgang, we have so much fun watching him bob and weave his way through the pack. Not today. He is currently 12th. He's actually dropped back from his 10th position, but he told you, Brock, that he didn't have much confidence.
No, he really didn't. He was not very happy with the race car. He just didn't feel the setup was right, didn't feel he had enough power, and he is a very savvy race driver, and he obviously knew what it was all about. He wasn't kidding himself tonight.
No, and so often you'll talk to these guys, and you can kind of sense there's a false hope about him. Wolfgang pulls no punches, not even with himself.
No, he absolutely doesn't, but you can be sure he's driving the car as hard as it can be driven, but it just won't cooperate, even under his talented administrations. He is just a brilliant race driver, and when the car's hooked up, he's very difficult to beat.
Well, it's a matter of power. He's just down on power for this particular racetrack, and we're halfway through the A main. 10 laps are down, 10 laps to go. Now Wolfgang is maybe starting to make a little progress suddenly. Maybe he found a line that works for him.
Well, Well, he's trying to challenge Joe Garrity in the 7 car. Goes high, but Garrity also not running up to his expectations. So those guys are kind of stuck in the middle of the pack, and probably no possible chance for victory here unless we have some really dramatic developments. There's Joe Garrity going by Mackinson on the high side, so he continues to push on. There's Wolfgang trying to challenge Mackinson on the same part of the racetrack. Gets high, and he will he get by him? Yes. Pushes right around Johnny Mackinson on the high side. So the Wolf continues to drive it as hard as it can be driven, but he and Garrity still well back in the field.
And here is the 69-inch car of Dave Haight and 17W Joe Garrity fighting for that 9th spot.
Good race here, but Garrity down low. Can he get by him? No, Haight fighting hard in the 69, and Garrity nips underneath them as they go down into turn number 3.
And on this racetrack, Joe Garrity would have no excuse for having the wrong engine, considering that's the family business.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's showing some power down this race, there's no doubt about that. But Joe Garrity now moves well away from Doug Wolfgang, who now begins to try to challenge Haight.
And there is the 8 car, the Ornsdorf Wolfgang. He's going way low. Haight goes way high. This should work for Wolfgang if he's got any power at all.
Now there is the pass, yes. The Wolf moves by Haight, so continuing to struggle here, but slowly moving toward the front. As they say, the cream will rise to the surface here if you give him enough time.
And we should tell our new sprint car viewers at home that this is a highly unusual night of racing here at Williams Grove. Very little contact between race cars.
Absolutely. Very clean racing. It could be the condition of the racetrack. It could be that just everybody happens to be behaving themselves tonight.
Well, 5M Mark Kessler is trying to move out of that 4th position to get around Keith Kaufman, and the number 20 car currently rides in 3rd.
Well, Steve, I don't think he's going to be able to do it. Kaufman got by him. Remember now, it's not just driver error in these automobiles. These cars are very sensitive racing machines, and the setup is really critical. Right or wrong tire choice, right or wrong wing angle, right or wrong torsion bars, right or wrong spring rate, and you're going to the back of the pack. And I think probably Mark made a wrong choice. Just a few little millimeters will make the difference here.
And chassis tuning, chassis setup, whatever you want to call it, on most racetracks is more important than horsepower, but maybe not here in some cases, as you just saw.
Oh, yeah. Keith Kaufman, whatever they did to that motor in the just few remaining minutes between the B and the A main has worked for him, because that thing is running really well. You can see him just break away from Mark down the straightaways. Mark moves in on him as they come off turn number 2. Now watch this burst of power on the part of Keith Kaufman in that black 20.
And there's your leader, comfortably in the lead, is Steve Kinzer, but he's starting to come up on some lap traffic. He'll have to be very careful with. Going to handle them with kid gloves and make sure there's no rubber-to-rubber contact, which spells upside down in this game.
Well, he just is so good in this kind of racing. He just, he burst out of the pack after that caution. Now, I'm not sure whether he would have been able to do it had he had not had that little respite where he obviously did some internal changing from the cockpit and reset that race car, that 11 automobile, because for once, of course, his cousin Carl wasn't able to run out and make the changes. And Carl, of course, is a genius at the setup of these cars.
And the timing it takes to drive a sprint car successfully. You've really got to turn the car before you think you should to do it right.
That's right. About halfway down the straightaway in some cases. As we watch Steve Kinzer come down through traffic to take the checkered flag here in Williams Grove. Great drive by perhaps the greatest outlaw driver of them all.
And even though these cars have power steering and this racetrack is relatively smooth tonight, there'll be a little sweat on the brow of Steve Kinzer, because it's just never easy wrestling one of these wing sprinters at any distance on any racetrack.
So Steve Kinzer, cool-off lap, heading toward victory lane here at Williams Grove. Great drive, great race, very clean race tonight, as this man records his 10th career feature win in this venerable old racetrack at Williams Grove.
And I'm sure, Brock, in all the sprint car races we have done here on American Sports Cavalcade, we saw fewer cars bent up tonight than we ever have in all of our sprint car coverage. It says a lot for the racetrack and a lot for the quality of drivers at Williams Grove. Stay with us. We'll talk to the winner.
So we cap a great night of racing at the World of Outlaws Pennsylvania Posse here at Williams Grove, Pennsylvania. Steve Kinzer takes it all. Joey Allen, Mark Kinzer, Keith Kaufman, and Randy Wolf round out the top 5. Chris Eashan 6th. The Smith family from Pennsylvania. Father beats son for the 7th spot. Joe Garrity in 9th. Doug Wolfgang started 10th, fell back, and then moved up to finish 10th. And now let's go to Steve with the winner, Steve Kinzer.
Well, after his heat race, you heard Steve Kinzer say, if I get the push out of this car, it'll go a good deal quicker. I think you got the push out of it.
Yeah, we got it going around pretty good. It was going real good in the heat race, forward real good. It just had a little bit of a push in it. Once we got it out of it, the car would work pretty good on the bottom or top. And I don't know, when they get rolled around that good, it makes it easy.
Have you ever seen Williams Grove any quicker or any smoother than it has been tonight?
No, it definitely was this is probably about the best track I ran here ever. It was just smooth as it could be, and it was fast. The little bit of rain really made it real quick, and we got the car going around good, so everything worked out nice.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, Steve Kinzer, the winner tonight. Let's go to Brock with 2nd place.
Well, Steve, as Joey Allen unbuckles and unhooks his seat belt and helmet, he's ready to climb out of the race car. Here he comes after a good, stout 2nd place. Joey, first of all, congratulations, but I'll tell you what, you seem to be able to hold Kinzer and Kaufman off with no problem, and then on that restart, Steve just kind of smoked you. What happened?
I don't think anything. I think he was just playing fast.
Flying, wasn't he? Yeah. But you seem able to handle him up until then.
Well, you got to kind of remember, I've been with the Outlaws for a year, so.
Okay. You think maybe you're sandbagging a little bit there?
I wish I was.
Well, how about him? Do you think he was?
No.
Well, it was a good drive anyway, and a great show.
Yeah, I was happy.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Great job. Joey Allen. Steve?
Well, Mark, you leave here with the 10-lap record. What you'd really like to have is the 20-lap record.
Right. There in the feature, we was a little loose. We run so good in the heat that we didn't do a whole lot to the race car. And then with this dirt track racing, the track itself can change a lot. So even during the race there at the first, I was kind of out to lunch. And about midway, maybe 5 or 6 laps to go, I kind of got everything back together and got running better. I kind of charged in on Kaufman there and hit him there, and I'm not really a rough driver. That was just kind of... I needed to get back up front, and I didn't like as much as he did, I'm sure.
But all in all, you've got to be real proud of your combination, as you said earlier. The best race car you've ever had. You're going to win some races with it.
Yeah, this year has been the best year I've ever had. Chuck Merle's put me in absolutely the best car I've ever been in. And
you're a happy guy, I can tell that.
I'm really happy. This is the best year I've ever had, like I said, and it's all to do to Chuck and Kenny and Clyde Lamar from California has gave us a little bit of a money sponsor for these TV shows from Tri-C's. So I'm a really happy guy. You're right.
Keep it up.
Thank you.
Okay, Brock.
Okay, Steve. We all had fun here at Williams Grove, the World of Outlaws Pennsylvania Posse. It was great fun. For Steve Evans, I'm Brock Yates. Thanks for joining us.
The executive producer for American Sports Cavalcade is Harvey M. Palish. Produced and directed by John B. Mullen. Promotional consideration provided for and a fee paid by this special offer from Diamond Fee.